What's up, people? Chris Osberg here, Winding Road Magazine. Today on this beautiful Drury, Michigan spring day, I have the 2017 Hyundai Elantra Sport. Let's take a look at this thing. So, aesthetically, some very nice enhancements for this Sport model. You've got upgrades to the front end. Got this kind of cool red accent here on the headlights. You've got a real nice looking wheel and tire package. 18 inches on this one, low profile tires. You've got larger front brakes. You've got a cool rear end treatment. Let's go around to the back here. Got this nice diffuser going on here and dual tailpipes to the right. Overall, I think this is a very handsome car. So typically I prefer the Kia styling to the Hyundai, but in this case, this is an excellent looking car. Fortunately for us, Hyundai has not only made the Sport and appearance package, but they've done some pretty substantial mechanical functional changes to this thing too. So versus the regular Elantra models, which have a pretty pedestrian torsion bar solid axle rear suspension, they've ripped that out and gone with a multi-link independent rear suspension on this thing. Pays huge dividends in ride quality and handling. I see a nice little turbo badge here up front that's telling you that this is equipped with their 1.6 liter direct injected 201 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque, 4-cylinder engine. What else have they done? Well, the basic Elantra models have a regular automatic 6-speed transmission, not the Sport. The Sport, you can get yourself a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, which this car is equipped with. So this thing promises to offer quite a bit of enthusiast appeal in a midsize sedan package, right around $26,000 as this one is equipped. So let's go ahead and check out what we're dealing with here. Trunk area, nice and big, lots of room. Easy access, looks like, to change your light bulbs. Access maybe some other stuff back there. Oh yeah, good to see manufacturers paying attention to that kind of thing, because you never know when you're gonna have to replace a light bulb, and if it's a pain, few things more aggravating than that. So hey, we've got a space saver spare. Nice to see that these days. Nice deep trunk, looks like the seats fold down, all good stuff, and we even have release handles back here to facilitate that. Good thinking. Back seat room, not too shabby. Excuse the leaves and dirt I've got going on back here, but hey, we've got some nice red accented deviated stitching here. We've got some nice stainless looking sill plates. Overall, pretty upscale. Let's see what's going on under the hood. Okay, TGDI, turbocharged gasoline direct injection. Cool. Well, we got a battery right out in front here that's nice and accessible, as is the air filter. ECU stored right there. Alternator. Overall, pretty tidy packaging. It looks pretty accessible in terms of serviceability. Minimal plastic engine cover here for a little bit of sound damping. We can remove that to get to, looks like, some coil packs. Yeah. Pretty slick. Cold side on the front here, hot side is on the back. All right. We're gonna go take this thing for a spin. Once again, I really like the look of these bi-colored wheels here. We've got kind of a traditional silver aluminum on the front face with the inside slightly darker, kind of a grayed out look. Very handsome look on this car, and that type of wheel finish does well for brake dust too. All right, getting inside this thing. First thing you notice, we've got some Sport Edition seats. Very nice bolstering here. Does a good job of offering a little bit of support without being too aggressive and perhaps becoming uncomfortable on long trips. You know, I'm a bigger guy, about 6 foot, 200 pounds, so it still fits me quite well. So very nice. Steering wheel, sporty. It looks sporty. We got a flat bottom here. We've got a nice red stripe showing that you mean business. But overall, the diameter could be a little bit chunkier, but it's a small complaint. Overall, it's a nice upgrade from what you'd find in a regular Hyundai. We've got some aluminum pedal covers for the dead pedal, the brake pedal, for the gas pedal, all going on down there. We've got some carbon fiber look-alike trim. I usually don't like the fake stuff, but in terms of not authentic looking carbon fiber, actually this doesn't look too bad, and it does a nice job of breaking up the otherwise substantial amount of black plastic you'd have other places. We've got some door handles that are kind of black chrome PVD looking. Got a little bit of fake leather here, but it's not too bad. Looks like it'd be pretty comfortable for your arm. Interior plastics are okay considering the price of the car. Overall it's a pretty decent place, and knobs are high quality feeling. In a nutshell, I am pretty happy with the interior on this car, and I also welcome a traditional shift lever. So we've got park position, reverse position, neutral position, drive, and bump to the left for your manual up and down shifting. Gauges, well laid out. I really am a big fan of the Kia and Hyundai gauges these days. They are very easy to read, stylized a little bit, but not to the point of detracting from their usability or readability. Everything you need is right out front here with a center display that's somewhat configurable, and it's got the stuff that I want, like redundant speed in the middle. Yeah, it's overall it's a pretty darn good gauge package. Shift paddles here, they're kind of cheap plasticky, but this is a let's say a budget-based vehicle, so fraying here in the steering wheel, but overall pretty well put together car for the price. No complaints there. So we're gonna go ahead and take this thing for a spin. You'll notice that my temperature gauge is just about cold, just above cold there. That's one thing I've noticed. This engine actually takes quite a bit of time to warm up. So I did drive the car about 10-15 minutes prior to stopping, and it still isn't really up to temperature yet. Most cars in that amount of driving time will be up to operating temperature at that point. So if you live in a cold climate, that is a slight consideration that this car isn't as quick to warm up as some others I've driven. But you do have heated seats, at least on this one, to help mitigate the fact that you won't be getting warm air right away from the climate control system. So, and we're off. Steering, nice feeling at parking lot speeds. It's got just about the right amount of weight I would want from this thing. Nice little rumble from the engine too. Hyundai claims that they've made some sound enhancements to this engine to pipe some induction noise into the cabin, but that is natural noise. It's not sound generated via a speaker or other electronic synthetic noise, and that's appreciated. If you're going to enhance the noise in the cockpit, I think that's the way to go, and you do notice it. It sounds pretty good. Turn in is nice and crisp. The steering rack could be just a hair quicker for my preference, but overall feeling is good, and you can tell the car is eager to turn. It just, I'm not driving very fast right now, but you can tell that the car encourages you to throw it into some corners. It's going to be, I'm expecting an engaging drive that an enthusiast can appreciate. Infotainment section is something familiar to other Kia Hyundai users. It works well. I have a few minor bugs here and there. The other day I started it up and it did not want to respond to the volume button. Then the backup camera came on. It didn't want to get rid of that. But the usability has been overall pretty good. I do like the blend of physical buttons for your commonly used items, an actual volume knob, an actual tuning knob. Those are appreciated. I don't really like the systems that have gone to fully touchscreen with no hard keys whatsoever supporting some of the common tasks. HVAC system, simple, clean, easy to use. It's got knobs. I like it. Not a whole lot to say there. Driving performance from the powertrain. Well, this is a new 7-speed dual clutch transmission for them, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. I think they've done a good job of bringing something to the table that offers some performance and also doesn't sacrifice much the daily drivability of the car. Some of the earlier generation transmissions and dual clutch gearboxes offered or had a lot of let's say drawbacks in day-to-day driving, so lurches and hesitations and clunks and that kind of thing, and they've quelled most of that. Every once in a while you can confuse it. You can get it to jerk a little bit when you let off the gas. You can get it in a situation where it upshifts and you demand a little bit more power acceleration and then it doesn't quite know what to do. So it's not 100% perfect. It's not quite up to the standard of some of the companies that have been doing this for a long time. So every once in a while it does something a little bit unusual. But overall it's pretty good. They could work on the shift speed just a little bit. It doesn't quite crank off the upshifts as quickly as some of the other companies do that offer these transmissions. And part of that, I think, is actually the responsiveness of the engine. So you notice when you're driving this car and you try to get it to downshift, it's a little bit slow to bring the engine revs up. So maybe it's the flywheel size, maybe it's the architecture of the engine, but it's not the most responsive engine to requests for increases in engine RPM, which makes the whole driveline feel slightly less responsive than it could be. But overall, in terms of what an enthusiast would expect, it's leaps and bounds better than a traditional automatic transmission. So brakes, as I mentioned before, part of the sport package is increasing the front rotor size. Braking feel is, let's say, average to slightly above average. The pedal feels decently firm. Every once in a while you get a little bit of sponginess out of it. But overall, confidence inspiring and offers a good amount of strong pedal feedback. we've got a wet highway exit coming up, cloverleaf. Let's see if we can get a slight feel for what the chassis balance is coming off of the throttle here. Turns in well, lots of grip from the all-season tires. But the front end, looks like the front end is going to be the first to go. There's not much rotation there when you're off the gas and you give it a little bit of flick. But it feels very stable. Alright. It's raining cats and dogs out here. Let's see what happens when we launch it. There is no launch control in this thing, but I'll just mat the gas pedal, put it in sport mode, and see what we got. 0 to 60, it feels brisk, let's say, but it's definitely not setting the world on fire. We're probably in the high 6-second range. Definitely not in the low 6-second or high 5-second range. So it's got enough power to be entertaining, let's say, but it's maybe not quite as quick as the Jetta GLI. But overall, it's a competent powertrain. Not too many complaints here. So the electronic assists are divided into 2 steps in terms of the traction control and stability control. So first press is traction control disabled. Holding onto it gets you stability control deactivated, which is what we really prefer. It's nice to be able to separate between the two for an enthusiast level car. Although the design of the platform does a pretty good job of eliminating torque steer that you get often in torque-heavy, powerful front-wheel drive vehicles, when it's wet out, you do notice quite a bit of wheel hop when there's wheel spin involved. So let's go ahead and see what happens when I plant the throttle with everything turned off. Get a little bit of wheel hop out of the suspension. Not a bad thing, but just be aware of it. It could catch you off guard or be startling if you're not expecting it or not used to it. That does bring up another concern as well, as with this dual clutch transmission, there is no launch control or launching mode that I've found. So there is a slight hesitation getting off the line. There's no way to really launch this car quickly, which ultimately is going to make 0 to 60 times suffer a little bit compared to other vehicles in this segment that do offer some sort of launch control. So most of us don't live our life 0 to 60 or quarter mile at a time, so it's really not that much of a concern for daily driving. But it would be kind of cool if you're going to offer a dual clutch transmission, if you could have some sort of launch control feature as well to really get off the line in a hurry instead of only being able to plant the throttle. Idle quality of the engine is quite good. Sitting here, there's no start stop or anything. It is just, you know, a regular idle, but the car is very smooth and quiet here at the traffic light. Yeah, it's raining quite a bit out here. I'm really fording through some of these puddles and feel a little bit like I'm conquering the Oregon Trail here, but car seems to be handling quite well in these difficult conditions. I'll try to avoid the monster pothole there, but things can be challenging here in Michigan. It's springtime. The ground is starting to thaw. The roads are kind of crumbling in that process, and we've got lots of rain that tends to hide these potholes, and you got to really dodge these things, because one of these potholes on a car like this, it can pop a tire relatively quickly. So challenging weather conditions out here. In any case, HVAC, I like the layout. I'm really a fan of physical knobs here to control the temperature. Big sync button here, big auto button here, easy to find. A little bit confusing sometimes on the auto functionality between activating the AC, not having the AC, having the defroster on, having the defroster not on. Sometimes you activate something and it eliminates the automatic setting. But that's a minor nitpicky thing. Maybe I just need to get used to the system a little bit better. Overall, it does what I needed to. It's easy to adjust. Can't complain about that. Other comments? Not really. I mean, the car is a good value, $26,000. I think for other sporty offerings in this price range, you're not going to find too much. I'm a fan of what they did with the suspension. So the turn-in is nice. The body control is good. You can really feel that the multi-link rear suspension that they've added to the sport trim Elantra is it's pretty good. It's an entertaining car to drive. I'm not going to confuse it and call it a sports car. I wouldn't go that far with it, but it's a lot sportier than other comparable vehicles you're going to find at this price point. So it's a convincing package. I think anybody shopping in this sedan market that wants something that's not boring, that wants something that's a little bit more entertaining, that's looking at things like the Jetta GLI, would be well versed to take a look at this thing as well. The defroster's not doing a good job at keeping that clear. It's more of that wheel hop. But as I was saying, it's a darn nice package. For an enthusiast that's looking for something that's not run-of-the-mill, and you maybe got a family, you got stuff in the back seat, 2 doors out of the question, maybe you're not a big fan of hatchbacks, this thing's pretty sweet. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It offers a good blend of fun to drive factor along with practicality, fuel economy, price, interior quality, features, safety, all that. It's a compelling deal. So check it out. That is our recommendation here at Winding Road. And in general, I think Kia and Hyundai, their rise to mainstream has really been a Cinderella story of a brand that was really a joke, let's say 15 years ago, to something now that's absolutely head and shoulders competitive in just about every vehicle category they offer. So really good job. It's impressive. Just my little commentary there on the auto industry in general. Overall, thanks for watching this Winding Road review. We appreciate Hyundai giving us a car to drive. We think it's a good deal. We hope you enjoyed the review. Apologize about the weather conditions. Nothing I can do about that. That's the way it is in Michigan. But stay tuned to Winding Road for more point of view drives, more reviews, more track time, more fun. We just love cars. We love driving them. We love beating on them. We love reviewing them, and we're going to bring that to you. So subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you soon. Chris Osberg signing off. Until next time, see ya.